Now, it was the big story which came out of the NTAs last night. ITV drama, Mr Bates versus the Post Office, quite rightly swept the night, taking home 3 of the big awards.
As we know, the drama had a huge impact on the struggles faced by hundreds of postal workers. But when former sub-postmaster Jo Hamilton took to the stage last night, she revealed there's lots more work to be done.
I want to say thank you to all my colleagues who are behind me, who, without strength in numbers, we wouldn't have got to where we are. And the public got behind us and changed, literally changed everything. I went to Westminster a couple of weeks back and saw the new minister, and trust me, nothing has changed. And almost all of these people behind me haven't been paid yet, including Sir Alan Bates. So when he comes back to the nation for help, please be there to support him.
Wow, what an incredible... Jo, I have to take my hat off to you. You were so eloquent and everybody in that room was behind you. You did the most amazing job up there.
Well, when you listen back, you think, ooh, did I do that?
You really did do that.
Oh, you did do that.
Yeah.
Live in front of 15,000 people there and millions watching at home, Jo. And I think one of the things... And obviously, we were thrilled that Mr Bates versus the Post Office did so well last night and was recognised for what it managed to do. And the point of the drama that was so exciting at the time, I'm sure from your perspective, was there seemed to be a real push for change. The government had seen what had happened, the government at the time, Rishi Sunak stood up and said, we will look after you, we'll exonerate those that were given prison sentences and we will pay out this compensation. And it wasn't until you spoke last night so brilliantly and eloquently, it became apparent that that just hasn't been happening.
No, it hasn't happened. The government keep pushing out. We've paid out £230 million. They push out huge numbers and they blind the public, really. But the fact of the matter is the bulk of our group that fought, and we've been together since 2009, we went through the High Court and won in 2 big trials in 2019. That's 5 years ago, and we've still not been paid. You know, I settled at 80% because it took 3 years, must have cost more than they ever paid me to actually get 80% of my claim.
That is one of the extraordinary things. You were saying that they've said that they've settled £230 million, but your estimates on how much they've spent fighting these claims is how much?
Well, there was a Freedom of Information request which ended in March, so it will be much higher than that. But they've spent £260 million paying out £230 million. I mean, really?
It's extraordinary.
Really? You know, why they can't simplify everything and just get people paid, I don't know.
Well, I think that was one of the frustrations, actually, that came across so brilliantly in your speech, was that it's like nothing has been done. The same thing is just happening. What would you like to see happen?
Well, I mean, the ministers come and go. We've had lots of ministers. But the guys behind the scene in the departments, they've been there throughout all of this, and we've seen the shenanigans that's been going on at the inquiry, you know, and we're dealing with the same people. It's almost like the fox is in charge of the hen house. It's, you know, that's what we're up against.
So one of the last rulings you had was that everyone would have been paid by, am I right in saying July 2024 was
August.
August.
In March 2022, they said all of us would be paid by August 2024. So then when it got close to August, they said, oh, we'll extend the deadline because we don't want a handful of people that might... Because apparently it's in law that we all had to be paid by then. So they extended the deadline to August 2025 and nobody's been paid. And that gave them another year to mess around.
They extended their own deadline. How generous were they extending deadlines to you and the other fellow sub-postmasters when they were demanding payment of this money that had seemingly gone missing?
Yeah, I mean, we had to put it in by the morning. I mean,
so there was no extension of deadlines
regardless of the size of it, no extension.
So what is Alan Bates's plan that you mentioned there in the speech?
Well, he will go back to court and, you know, and take them on again, which is also... It shouldn't have to happen.
No.
You know, it will cost the government an absolute fortune. But we won't have to go to litigation funders this time because I'm sure the nation will get behind him. and support him through court, or support the group through court.
Yeah.
Because he'll take everyone else being messed around, you know, because you saw the people there last night, and I think the oldest lady is 91, Betty. You know, I mean, for goodness sake, why can't they just, if a claim is reasonable, pay it? Why do they have to have all the I's dotted? Oh, they want reports, they want medical health reports. I mean, it's just...
You've been through it.
Yeah, they're making it as
Just give you the money that you've been waiting for and you deserve. So the new Post Office Minister, Gareth Thomas, you've met Gareth Thomas. Do you feel more hopeful that he's a new minister, it's a new government, that... No?
No, because he's actually not running the show. The department is. The Department of Business and Trade, the civil servants. They're in charge of the scheme. And they've just awarded their lawyers another £10 million contract to advise them going forward. I mean, they speak about 10 million, like we speak about a tenner. It's like, oh, 10 million. It's like, that's because it's not their money.
No.
It's our money.
Yes.
Jo, what hope do you have for this?
I have every hope in Alan, but it really shouldn't be necessary. You know, why we can't just all sort it out. Get rid of it, clear it off the books, you know, because we won't go away until we'd all shut up and go away if they just sort it.
Yeah.
My right of reply is over there on the desk if you need me to go and get it and read it out. Let me go and grab it. Excuse me, 2 seconds. No, you probably could have.
You'll
know exactly what they've said.
They're going to say, right? And it's going to be all dressed up in language.
So this is what the government have said. The Department for Business Trade we recognise the immeasurable suffering postmasters have endured and they have waited too long to receive redress. That's why we're working tirelessly across the government to bring them some relief with full, fair and swift redress.
Swift.
We've already paid out 289 million.
Next year.
This is an interesting one to get your thoughts on. We've already paid out over £289 million to over 2,800 people across 4 redress schemes. We've also made 253 offers and introduced a new compensation scheme to speed up redress for those with overturned convictions. Those 253 offers, just explain the offer that Sir Alan Bates has received.
Well, his first offer came back at less than 15%.
15.15?
Yeah, and he refused it, and it went back, and they upped it to 30%. You know, I mean, for goodness sake.
30% of the compensation.
They've trashed decades of your life.
Yes.
And they think they can get away.
4 people lost their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you get back.
And they'll hide behind the idea that they've made 253 offers, but when the offers are that derisory at 30%, of course they're going to get sent back.
And some of the offers in the historical shortfall scheme, they were unrepresented. They fell into the arms of Post Office, filled out forms, and they got peanuts back. And they can tick the box and say they've settled it.
Wow.
Jo, I'm so sorry that you're still having to battle. You've still got the public support. You heard that last night.
That's one thing for sure.
You heard it. I just want to... Were you able to enjoy the evening at all?
Oh, it was magical, really magical, including Ollie Mers, who stood behind us all and had a photograph because he thought we were the heroes.
You are the heroes.
Sure.
You absolutely are the heroes. And you deserve to have that moment of recognition. And you will undoubtedly have this huge momentum of support going forward as well. We will be supporting you at every step of the way, Jo. You don't deserve to be treated like this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming in. OK, let's talk to Nick now. And let's see, Nick, how eloquent is Jo?
Well, what Jo and all the others need to know, Kat, is that we picked up on this because I was with you, as you know, last night, and I threw it open to the listeners. So, Jo, be in no doubt. The listeners are absolutely... They share your fury, the power of your speech. What you did brilliantly is you went from cheers to jeers, because everyone was cheering what you and your colleagues had achieved, and the actors as well, and everybody was cheering. And your timing was superb, because they were... And then suddenly you dropped the bombshell. I remind you of the numbers. 555 victims, more than 300 not had an offer. Sir Alan, 30%. And suddenly it dawned on the audience the treatment that you've been receiving, and that's when the jeers and the boos started. So if you take anything away, apart from the magical night, I'm sorry I didn't get to actually meet you. I spoke with one of your colleagues down in Cornwall, who you probably know well, Penny, who couldn't be with you, so she was on my show today, and the calls absolutely flooded in. So as Ben was saying, as Kat was saying, be in no doubt. The public are ready. If it takes Mr. Bates, Sir Alan versus the Post Office Part 2, we are all going to be here for you. Be in no doubt of that at all. So well done to you.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Well done, Jo.
Thank you, Jo. And you can go and get some sleep now as well, because I know you had a lovely late
Thank you for
night.
visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.